the best thing about us that makes us super unique is how close we are to Kolob Canyon, part of Zion National Park.
Mm-hmm.
And we have views for miles. So from each of our decks, you can see, I think it's 10 miles clear out past New Harmony. There's those huge Pine Valley mountains.
Uh-huh.
So we have an excellent view of Pine Valley. So quiet out there and peaceful. And it's like, there's only a couple other places I've been in the world that give you that kind of peace.
Yeah.
And I credit it all to our creator. Like, right, nature's like a cathedral no one can top.
Yeah.
Right? So you walk out of your dome, you're sitting on your deck, and it's just peaceful.
Do you see the Milky Way in the dark sky? You can see the
Milky Way in the dark sky. We actually had some guests who they texted me earlier in the day and said, hey, we're going to get there at like midnight because we booked a stargazing like tour in Zion's. And I'm, no problem. Like, you're good. It's ready for you. Well, I got there around 1 a.m. because a lot of times I'll just go check, make sure everything's good in the middle of the night, which sounds crazy.
Sure.
And it is. But sometimes I just want to make sure everything's fine.
Well, you're the camp host, right?
Yeah. So I got there. It was 1 a.m. and this couple was out like laying on their deck, just talking. And they were the only ones there. So it was like fine. Yeah. And they were like, this place is amazing. This is better than the stargazing tour we just did in Zion's. We shouldn't have paid $400 to stay in Zion.
Right.
Out past whenever they close the gate.
We can just see it right here.
So it's pretty amazing. So, and we've had some locals come out and do stargazing tours for our guests.
Yeah.
So
what, how far of a drive is it to the Kolob entrance? Like, how many minutes does it take?
So it's about 10 minutes.
10-minute drive to Kolob. Yeah. Talk about what are some of the unique things about the Kolob entrance here? So
I love the Kolob side of Zion's. So you get all of the benefits of being in a national park, right? All of the trails are properly maintained. They're regulated. They're checked on regularly. So like if there's a car that stays overnight, the rangers will go out and check. Like, so there's all the safety, the maintenance, the cleanliness. There's regular bathrooms. Like, it's very well maintained. But I can't remember I'm probably going to say the wrong statistic. Like, a tiny fraction of people that go to Zion's go to the Kolob entrance. Yeah,
I think the majority, because people know about Zion National Park and they go, they take the long way, you know, to the main entrance. But Kolob Canyon is its own. There's not even a way from Kolob to the main entrance, right? From what I understand, or is there?
So there is one road.
There is a road
that will go down through Springdale, or Virgin.
Oh, there is.
It goes down. It winds down through.
That's good for me to know. I didn't realize that.
It's a long drive, but it's absolutely fantastic. We drive it actually regularly, and
I knew there were trails that.
Yeah, we don't even get out of the car. We literally just go for the views.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's a fantastic drive, but there's just nobody up there.
Yeah.
So you get to go. You get to enjoy all of the benefits of a national park.
10 minutes away.
Yeah, just 10 minutes away.
Without all the craziness of some of the traffic and the restrictions that are going on. And
you won't have to wait at the gate. You can just walk in, talk to the rangers, go on through.
What are some trails? Are you familiar with the trails?
So my favorite is the Taylor Creek Trail.
Okay, tell us why. Why Taylor Creek?
Well, once again, it's quiet. So you'll get to an arch. You get to see one of those magnificent red rock arches. But I think last year they averaged like 30 people a day on that trail.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a longer hike, but you get views of Kolob. I think that's the trail. You can see what they call the Five Fingers of Kolob on that trail. I'll have to look that up when I get home.
No worries.
But just fantastic views, parts that are shaded. So even in the hot summer, There's places you can rest and cool off. And it's like a moderate trail.
Yeah.
So
moderate in difficulty.
Yes, in difficulty. So it will push like some people's limits, but allow you to explore nature.
Do you know round trip about how many miles?
I believe it's about 7 miles.
Okay.
So it's a healthy hike.
Yeah. It's out and back, or is it a loop? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think it's out and back.
Okay.
I don't believe it's a loop.
I mean, it's not like you even have to do the full 7 miles if you wanted to go.
Yeah,
and
you can
just
turn around at any time.
traverse it, for a couple miles and head back.
So I do know some people. I think there's even a campsite along the way. So if you wanted, I mean, it's only 7 miles, but I have known groups that take some tents and they hike in at like 5 o'clock at night in the summer and they stay overnight and then they hike back out in the morning.
Hey, I'm going to have to go do that.
It's super cool option.
Yeah.
So
are there other trails there too that you can remember their names that you like?
I can't remember any more names, but there's a couple more that are just fantastic. And there is a secret water hole.
Okay.
I won't tell you where that is on there.
Well, you have to come stay at the little village retreat. Well, and that's one of the interesting things here locally. You know, we depend a lot on tourism, plays an important role here.
Yeah.
For a lot of businesses, yet we balance it out with come and see, and if you come and see, we may show you one of these unique areas that we like, because we also want to preserve. We like the fact that they're not overrun. Like some of the other areas, have been kind of overrun. And that's because there is this immense beauty here that's not comparable to anywhere else in the world. I mean, I was on the show, we had Hayden Hawks, who's a local professional trail runner, and he was saying that some of those trails in Zion are comparable with anywhere else that he's run in the world. And Cedar City was named Gateway to the Parks years ago by Union Pacific Railroad, because train is how everybody used to come see the national parks. And so we have this long history of these world-renowned sites. And okay, so let's, and I guess I kind of touched on my next question for you, but.
Hey, Diane, tell us about Kanarra Falls before we move on.
Oh, Kanarra Falls. Kanarra Falls is one of the most popular hikes in southern Utah. I believe on Google, it's still not in comparison, but like people search for Kanarra Falls almost as much as like Angel's Landing. Like Kanarra Falls is fantastic. And people have no idea that it's in Kanarraville, Utah. Right? They just know about Kanarra Falls. And Kanarra Falls is a fantastic, it's about 4-ish miles in and out. But you get a traverse, like you walk in the stream, you're in a slot canyon for a lot of the time. And then you get to the first waterfall. And the first waterfall is fantastic. But then they've put in these awesome still steps that go up. You can walk up these steps and you get to go further into the slot canyon and see a second waterfall. So we actually, that's one of the reasons we built so close to Kanarraville, is because they allow about 250 permits to Kanarra Falls every day. But nobody stays there because there's only the 2-room motel in Kanarraville. And so we wanted people to make it a day trip.
Right.
And then they can stay and go to Zion's. They don't have to drive home the same day. But Kanarra Falls is just such a fantastic hike and very private. Even if there's 250 people, they spread that out over that time in the day. And you really don't
see a lot of people. Yeah.
It's a pretty private hike and it's so fantastic. Cold if you go.
Depending on the time of the year.
Before May or after like October.
When's your preferred time of year to go see it?
Oh man, I've been in the summer, and the summer was fantastic because you kind of cool off because you're in the water.
You're in the slots and
like not super high.
Right.
Like it doesn't ever, I don't remember it ever getting up to my knees. It's pretty shallow. Like my kids did it. And then we've been in October, and while the water was, I had one child in tears because their feet were so cold. But
I laugh like maniacally.
I mean, like, it's just how it is.
I'm just having flashbacks of my children tearing up about little hikes we've been on and stuff.
And I'm super compassionate. And I was like, well, if you'd actually stay in the water, they would go numb and then you wouldn't be cold anymore.
You go.
So super compassionate. But in October, beauty like I'd never seen, because the leaves were changing, like, and that red rock with these yellow and orange and red leaves was fantastic. Right. We loved it. My teenagers were taking pictures, which tells you a lot because they usually just take pictures of themselves.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's I'm glad we we brought up those falls, because that's one of the real unique things here in Iron County, that in particular. And you're right, there people research that as much as they do anything in Zion or some of these.
They have no idea where it is,
right?
But they want to do it.